It's 3:16 a.m. on Friday, May 22nd, 2020, John 3:16. I just came on here to say a few words after putting out those videos of the images captured on camera in the sky. I'm not really going to comment further on that. As I wrote in the description box, I just wanted to show the footage. Basically, that's all I really wanted to do. Not to say anything at this point, or to jump to any conclusions at this moment about things, what it might mean or not. Those images appearing like angel images. And again, the person who showed that with his camera, a new camera that he just got recently, Igor Kostelac in Croatia. And being that he didn't comment on those images yet, I don't want to say anything. I just put his footage up. That's all that I did. Hopefully that's okay. That's all that I really intended to do at this point. Actually, what you're staring at is not the sky, but it's my ceiling. Yeah. Again, it's late in the middle of the night. So this is a situation developing and unfolding with him, with what he's doing, with things that he said could be ready to happen at any moment, with comets ready to pass by the United States and to intersect, which seems to produce certain connection down below on the Earth. It's at certain, I should say, altitudes, or wherever the comet is in its orbit, at different places, farther or closer to the Earth. It doesn't just apparently depend upon the closeness, but the latitude, let's put it that way, the space latitude of where they are, and how that affects below, what's going on at different levels, okay, and at different times. So also, if these comets can produce results, problems after, a short bit after they pass by, or even before they pass by. And apparently last week, when there was a large earthquake, I think in Nevada, over 6, was it? 6.5 or so. I think that's like exactly the time that he had said that he plotted the orbit of, I guess it was Comet Swan, and then there's Comet Atlas, which supposedly broke up, but now they're saying it reformed or something, and it's pretty much intact with different pieces. And he also did a video a few days ago, was it yesterday? He did it in the Croatian language, and basically he had made calculations that the comet, whichever one, Swan I guess it was, would pass over his country right there. And what happened was, I think yesterday, was it? Yesterday or today, that there was in fact an earthquake like right to the south of him. I think it was 4.5 or so. So it seems like he's calling the shots. He's calling what's happening. It seems to be anyway. Now, there's a lot of chatter and talk and anticipation going into this weekend and the beginning of the coming week after the weekend concerning these comets coming very close and intersecting. Again, probably might cause an effect over the United States, particularly the East Coast, and then travel back, I think, west again as he calculated it. So we'll see what happens. And again, there's been crazy swarms going on in that region in the west area, the West Coast. Just seems like unprecedented, and seems like at the same time of not only what he's saying and sort of anticipating and forecasting, but others with regard to this comet, I should say these two comets and their effects as they sort of imminently approach to possibly cause effects very shortly here, any moment really, possibly. I don't know, I'm just saying what they're saying. There's other, I would say, unsubstantiated talk or ideas, calculations, predictions concerning an EMP that could result because of this in the weekend here. I don't like to deal with sensationalism and speculation. However, I'm reporting what's going on, and whatever happens, happens. I think someone mentioned or said that there was calculations. I don't know if he said it, particularly concerning New York, again, the East Coast, this weekend or whatever. Not to alarm anyone, but I'm just saying. But these types of prognostications have been going on really for years, even much beyond that. Now getting back to Igor Kostelac, and I don't know who's really interested in me talking about this, but I'm going to get into this again. Like I say, this whole thing is sort of a situation unfolding. Many others are predicting things imminently. But to be honest, I don't put much credence in what they're saying, or I don't want to say their credentials, because they seem pretty knowledgeable. Some seem very knowledgeable, but I don't know who they are really, although they've been around a long time and they've run the circuits, the talk circuits and news and so forth, space weather and current events, those type of things, and even prophetically. A good deal of those, say that they're Christians. But again, there's a lot of sensationalism. I don't put much credence in really anyone out there. I hate to say that, but it's true, at least for me personally. That's how I feel. And especially when you see what their spiritual beliefs are, just because not everyone that, claims to believe, believes the right gospel of being saved by grace alone and so forth. Many of them sell things, a lot of them. A lot of these people seem to be experts. I won't really name them. I guess most of you know out there who they are and what's going on. They're the main ones out there, saying these things. Now getting back to Igor for a second. Apparently he has two places he, goes to or lives at. One is where he usually does his footage. He films the sky. He has his camera set up. Again, it's in Croatia, and he's apparently in the mountains, he says. That's where he stays, and then he goes, I guess, down into whatever the city and stays there. I'm not sure what his living situation is, whether he has two places or what, possibly. Anyway, I think today he said that yesterday and today, that he's heading. Yesterday, he didn't do a video today. He's heading from the mountain to his other place, and he said that he laughed that it seems like every time that he's done that something bad has happened. There's been effects taking place, disastrous events, I guess you'd call it. And he said that, again, he's going back away from his mountain place, and he said that, quite honestly, he expects that, untoward, problematic, troublesome things might happen again while he's away during this, to the weekend, especially in light of everything that's going on and his calculations and things that others are saying, especially that he said that there's a new moon, a totally dark moon, and that's very ominous, especially in coordination with the passing of comets like this, especially two comets intersecting each other's orbit and their location above the Earth, or I should say in alignment toward the Earth, because they're not particularly that close in certain terms, though they are. But it's the connection that causes these things to happen, electrical connections, and, with other planets, with the sun, with comets, and I guess there's asteroids and so on. There's so much going on, a lot of predictions, and others saying, there's the planetary system that's very close and ready to conjunct with the Earth and align with the Earth and the sun and so forth and other planets, and then again with the comets interacting at the same time here. So, something seems up as far as what others are saying from what they believe and seem to know about things going on, and their projections and what they see out there that could be ready to impact the Earth and other planets and the sun again. Then, I don't know if you're familiar with, I think the name is Dietrianum, if I pronounced it right. He has seemingly very accurate forecasts of earthquakes based upon the alignments of planets and the sun. And, Dutch Sense, he's another one, concerning foreknowledge of things. And they're all looking for, again, it seems like the consensus is very shortly here. These things are converging, possibly within days. Again, not to create any kind of, false alarm or panic. Again, one or actually several are anticipating an EMP, at the same time here within days. So, I don't know, it's all crazy. Who knows what's going to happen and what's true or not. So you just have to take it one step at a time and, not put too much credence in things. They're voicing a lot of concerns about the Earth in its orbit about to pass through some large asteroid fields intersecting the Earth as the Earth passes through it, coming from outward, from the solar system inward. And again, the Earth would pass through it, and then those swarms would head toward the inner planets and so forth, and toward the sun. And, there could be large flares. There's already been large flares within the past several weeks here. Very large prominences, which so far have had pretty much very limited effect. I've seen all kinds of strange things in the sky and weather and events and so on, peculiarities in the position of the sun, or at least it seemed that way. The weather has been totally crazy, very, very chilly, almost cold, almost like wintry, right up to even now. Just seems like spring and summer doesn't want to come, though. Next week, I see the forecast is some heat there, some pretty good heat for several days. It's been very rainy, very windy, constantly, no stop to it. Just a crazy, weird kind of wind. And same thing with the sky. Very high clouds, different layers moving in different directions, way high up. Almost looks tropical in nature, yet the ground air is chilly and cold. Some of the peculiarities that I've seen with the weather in the sky is after a storm, I saw 5 rainbows in one. Yeah, 5 of them. And it didn't arc very high. It was close to the ground, low arc, elongated, and it was like an echo rainbow. Again, there were like 5 rainbows in one. The first one was pretty much very wide. The other ones were wide but very indistinct and dimmer, but I've never seen anything like that. It's been common in the past couple of years here. I've seen many times 2 or 3 rainbows in one. That's pretty common, but not common usually, but from what I see, it's been common. I was looking at the sun several days ago, and it was a hazy sky. It wasn't thick clouds, just that kind of layered look, sort of like what you see on the screen here. and there was a wide rainbow around the sun, which is pretty commonly seen by many. But what was strange was I looked over my head, and there was a round circular rainbow image right above my head. Now the sun was pretty close to the horizon setting, an hour or two before, let's say, sunset. So whatever was over my head, it seemed to indicate that there was some thing illuminating beyond the clouds over my head, producing a halo ring, which was very unusual. Then a couple of weeks ago, I guess, I went outside and I was looking at the sky, and it was, again, maybe an hour or two before sunset, and I was thinking to myself, wonder what's out there. I've never seen any of these stellar cores and planets or what have you, heavenly bodies, with my own eyes, though I've been following this, like many out there, about what's supposedly incoming. I do believe that there is a system out there close to the Earth, intersecting with our solar system, with its own orbital paths, its own solar system intersecting with ours. Anyway, I kept staring near the sun, looking and looking, and I said, I just, one time I want to see it. And it's going to be hard to believe when I tell you this, but I kept looking and looking and looking, and I'm looking, and in a diagonal way, the sun was, above the horizon, maybe 20 degrees or whatever, or so, and to the left of it, at about maybe 10 o'clock, I saw what looked like a sort of an illuminated round object, like a moon, but sort of bigger. And then to the right of the moon, down toward the horizon at about, let's say, 4 o'clock or so, I saw basically the same thing, and it was sort of cloudy, even billowy clouds, dark clouds, but sort of mixed in with layered clouds again, like a haziness. All I could tell you is that I stared and stared, and I said, I can't be seeing what I think I'm seeing, But those objects, whatever they were, that looked like planets, illuminated, not very well, but you could see it was illuminated. They remained stationary as the clouds went past them. That was clearly the case. They did not move. So take it for what it's worth. I'm not making a big deal about it, but I think I saw what I saw, meaning that there to me clearly seemed to be, again, two objects that look like pretty large moons in that fashion near the sun. Away from the sun, but not that far away. I've seen a good portion of the sky pinkish or sort of reddish at night, well past sunset, even toward midnight or whatever, when there was no full moon or no light in the sky. One night during the last, I guess, full moon or nearly full moon to the east, I guess it was after midnight, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, I was looking outside, and again, the sky, it was a full moon, and the sky was pinkish all to the east, and the moon was going sort of in and out of clouds. Sometimes there was, clouds surrounding it, and I could see the pinkishness on those clouds surrounding the moon, and again, really all through the sky, it was pinkish. So even when the moon is shining or not, I see the pinkishness very prominently, and really a large part of the sky too could be to the north, south, east, so forth. And just this past week, I've been noticing, and there hasn't been any moon. It's full new moon, I guess, this weekend. So this week there hasn't been a moon shining, and it was the wrong time for it to be out. And the sky has been lit up at night with no brightness of any moon, no proximity of a moon, even if it was shining. But again, it's a new moon, and it's been very light out, almost like twilight, like near morning. Very strange. This has been like this past week. So to me, at least, there seems to be very odd things happening in the sky. That seems to indicate things going on in the atmosphere and above that into the space beyond our atmosphere. That could be affecting things in this way upon the Earth. Just a week or two ago, we had a torrential, or I should say a pounding hailstorm, hail falling straight from the sky straight down. Then just before that, a couple of weeks ago or so, there was a snow squall with with sunlight. It was sunny, like cloudy, and this squall came, and the winds came out of nowhere and did swirling wind and dust. Seemed like 45-mile-an-hour wind. I was up at a store, and some people were like amazed, what the heck is going on? And then it was snowing with the sun out for a few minutes there, and then it was over. And this was after we had like 80-degree days a week or two before that, or we did have a few times like that. I've noticed rumbling sort of from the sky or toward the ground. I'm not sure where it came from. This has been happening during the past week or so. But again, this has not been anything unusual for several years here. I've been hearing that rumbling and just crazy sounds. What I describe it as like, have you ever been in a house that has a second level, and you're below on the first level, and people upstairs are moving furniture and scraping it across the floor, and that sound of like table legs or something? That seemed to be coming from the sky, and I've heard that quite often here. There's been booms and bangs and everything else, and weird, like, and it never stopped. Just kept going, like a sound from the sky out of nowhere. All kinds of things like that. Those booms, like boom, right over me. It shakes the place here. I've recorded that on video. Most of my videos aren't public now. I've had maybe over 400 videos that I've done, 450 or so. So the other ones aren't out to see right now, but the sun, or I should say the clouds, exhibiting a pink hue appearance well after sunset to the west. And again, the sun seems to be much further to the north upon sunset. I don't know if I'm just thinking that or if it's possible. I've been hearing a lot of others saying that they've been noticing that. It's in the wrong place. Who knows? But then very rarely I see the sun appear. It looks like 2 or 3 times its normal size, just very large, gigantic, orange-colored toward the horizon, when normally it usually appears pure white, which is not the normal appearance of the sun, the way it should be, and the way it was years ago, in past years. If you look at footage and so forth of the sun decades ago, it seems like it was much more normal. It's the yellowish orange glow upon the ground and trees and so forth. And normally, during the past years, really for a long time, there's been tremendous amounts of chemtrails laced across the sky, just all over the place. And I noticed that during this quarantine, really, well, not so much now, but there weren't chemtrails. For some reason, there weren't any. You could actually see the blue sky. And it seems like during the past weeks here now, it seems like there's a lot of chemtrails now going on, a lot of haziness going on, and continuously cloudy, hazy weather, and violent thunderstorms that come out of nowhere. So those are my unusual atmospheric observations that I've come upon lately. Really, a lot of it has been going on for a long time. But recently, all these things I just described, just amazing. Things I've not seen before, just prolonged, noticeable change in weather, very cool pattern, highly unusual clouds. So to switch gears here in midstream, Just going to mention that I did maybe a dozen videos or so during the past few months, or maybe a little longer, that I never published and put online here. Most of it dealing with what's going on with this so-called pandemic or scam-demic, however it can be described. That's accurate, I think. So we see the drive for pushed vaccines mandated seemingly shortly to come upon things. At the same time, indications that a mark will be required, an implant, possibly two types, one on the skin and one in the skin, which would be a chip, apparently. It would take too long to go into all of this. I'm sure all of you out there know basically what's happening with that, and all the legislation and patents with the number 6 in them, 6666, HR 6666, Gates patent for the device, upcoming device apparently, with the patent number 2020-060606. The names of different planned operations and exercises and agendas moving lockstep into everything that's happening now and that's planned to happen, to come to pass, to make this come about, straight out of the Bible, out of Revelation. And as you know, there's so much more to all of this than the brief things that I just mentioned here, which I won't go into further. So as far as those videos I just put up of those images, those angelic-like appearance in the night sky and those darting objects, I'm just going to wait and see how this progresses and what have you. If any mention about those images by Igor takes place. So far, he said nothing about it. I'm sure he's seen it. I don't know. Usually when he sees something in the sky and he knows about it, he's keen to observe and know it's there. So I couldn't imagine that he didn't see those images. But maybe he didn't or whatever. But there's been just silence on that, and he hasn't said a word. Others have left comments in that video, basically asking him what was that? Such unusual things darting about and so forth, and look like, I think someone mentioned it looked like an angel, and there's been no response to that, so I don't know why or if he will respond, so I'm just going to leave it alone. As I say, I just put the videos, I showed it, that's all I did. This video is my own video, which I'm just personally talking about these things, apart from the fact that I just listed, what was shown by his camera. So I'm keeping it separate, and I'm not, I don't want to rile things and seem to insinuate anything by what was shown there, what was exhibited, in light of the fact, again, that he gave no response, at least not yet, to those images, which is a typical of his response. He usually gets very, very excited and wants to show you right then and there, look. And I know there's Christians, quite a few, that go into his chat and leave comments, spiritual matters and things like that. He has his own particular views, and I'm just going to leave things right where they are, not go into this any further. And so whatever I ascertain or hear or comes of this, if anything, of those images, what people have been asking him, what is that? And what I showed from his footage. I mean, if it feels more appropriate at some point, even soon or whatever, to take those videos down, then that's what I'll do. Because again, all I did was show what he showed in his video. That's all I did with those other ones. And, I want to show a certain distance and respect, and want to see what he has to say further, possibly about that or any other things in the coming days here. I'm sure, he'll get back on at some point in the next few or several days, to do an update and what's going on, what he feels the situation is, or see what happens. I think many are waiting to see what happens. Really, all of them out there, no matter what aspect they have in this and what they're saying. And really all of them seem to be waiting on the situation for something imminent to happen. Again, maybe nothing will happen, or slightly. But again, it seems like quite a few of them seem to be changing their tune. Certain recent times and dates have passed without really things happening really at all. So there seems to be a lot of spin happening out there. It seems that many of them, unfortunately, want to get views and are pretty sensational and seem to be mixing truth with conjecture and then sort of wiggling their way out of it when the events pass and times and dates pass without things happening and sort of going on their merry way and just starting it all over again. So there seems to be quite a bit of social engineering and spiritual engineering going on in the midst of all of this, and shilling and mixing seeming spiritual Christian things in the mix of it all. And to me, at least, it seems like there's just something wrong with things with certain of these people, prominent ones involved in all of this, and the spirit about them. But really, this has always been this way for time immemorial. So we'll wait and see if anything at all occurs during this next week coming up. Actually, next days into next week and so forth, even beyond. And as far as those images go, that one appeared to be angel-like, I don't know exactly what the reason is for that, or what it is, the authenticity of it, or what it means, or if it could possibly be some kind of sign of the moment we're at, or perhaps something purposely projected in view of his camera. Many would have different opinions about that, but I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. Whether someone could say, well, it's not, if it is spiritual or, paranormal, if it's actual manifestation, whether it would be good or bad. The spiritual source is what I'm saying, where it would be coming from, all these kind of things, or whatever the truth may be about those images or not. And again, if I have to take them down, then I'll just take them down. Again, I didn't do really anything but, I keep repeating myself, but just posting them, showing what was there, that's all. As I'm not trying to steal the limelight for whatever reason, to get views or to impose myself upon someone, in a forward way, in some tabloid style. I'm not like that. I don't like that. I don't play that game. And to be quite honest with you, I really did not want to put those video footage up. I really struggled with it. And it's not that I couldn't believe or don't believe that something like that could actually manifest spiritually, but really in light of everything that's going on and what's going on out there and the phony baloney, to be honest, it is very, very hard for me to accept, what might really be real, just because there's so much deception. So I am really, really skeptical of most of everything that's out there. And so I'm not going to draw any conclusion about what those images were or not at this point, and just leave it alone. And maybe I shouldn't have put out those videos. We'll just have to wait and see what happens and how this progresses, as I say. But it is kind of hard, I should say kind of hard to explain how I came across certain things in his videos, being that I usually don't listen to long videos whatsoever. His observational videos can be 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last one was like 6 hours long. And how I specifically listened to just certain portions, listen to it, and certain things happened for me to find certain things, sort of like a needle in a haystack situation. So I know many are loyal to him and are just curious like I am, and now probably others are too, who saw my videos of his and trying to, find out what his thoughts are on that and get answers. And Hopefully he's not upset about that fact. And it's not good to press the issue many times in matters, but just wait to see what unfolds and develops in particular situations and matters that we come upon at times. So it's 4:57 a.m. on Friday. Can't even see, 5:22, as I said, 2020. Guess I have to get to sleep sometime. I had a lot of coffee ice cream earlier, or late in the day. I knew I shouldn't have, and it would cause me not to sleep more than usually. I don't get to bed very early. I usually sleep very late, get to sleep very late. But I hear the birds singing now, so the sun can't be that far behind. And the S-O-N, the sun, apparently can't be that far behind, too, to come and take the believers in the midst of all of this that's going on, and it appears to be on the horizon, very close to taking place. So I don't know, was it a mistake for me to have listed those videos and to show that footage? I don't know. But I'm trying not to jump to any conclusions, and obviously I'm not trying to mislead anyone. And all I could do is deal with things as they come about and act accordingly. I did come upon his songs. I heard him sing. He's quite an accomplished musician, singer, multi-instrumentalist. Right now, I don't know if I'm putting my foot in my mouth, but I'm giving the benefit of the doubt concerning all of this and those images, what appeared on screen, and to see if things prove otherwise. I do sort of feel like you get when you sort of butt into other people's business, that kind of feeling, like you should have stayed out of it. I sort of feel like that with this, but like it's there, it happened, it was on the screen, it was what was shown through his camera. I just like to know what's going on, just like many others who listen to him, I'm sure, are still curious what in the world was on that screen. As many may be wondering about the possible spiritual significance that may or may not be involved here. But these are really strange times, strange days, and a strange moment that we're now at the threshold of what appears to be absolutely momentous and biblical events ready to take place right on the horizon here. And maybe I'll think twice again about having caffeine in such a great amount, especially. All right, the birds are getting louder. I don't know if you could hear them, but I guess that's about it for now. Whenever I'm back, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I've gone through this for so long that I just take everything with a grain of salt. No matter what's happening, what seems to be on the horizon or ready to take place. So really nothing surprises me one way or the other. Or the timing of things. I don't put much significance in timing. I really don't. Dates or calculations or numbers or anything like that. Or, such a hyper sense that something is ready to happen. You just have to wait and see. That's all there is to things. And that's really the best kind of attitude, I think, to have. So I hope you don't put too much overemphasis in what was shown moving about in the sky or the reasons for it. Now, I'm not trying to assert anything or conclude anything whatsoever about what was there, but it was there, so I just showed it. That's all there is to it. I don't really want to make much more beyond that about it. What I mean is, put an overemphasis on such a thing, or, for others to overreact to it. So, in ending, all I could say is don't forget to wear your mask, especially in the car. You know what I have to say about that? As they say in New Jersey, forget about it. That's my opinion about it. I've been a kind of not basically, but much so a rebel in all of this. I don't know if I'm proud to say, I'm not, in one sense, not proud to say that I got canned from a store for not wearing a mask, because many times it very much upsets me what's going on, and I do react, sometimes overreact, whether right or wrong. I don't like to be, let's just say, have the wrong attitude in things. even though sometimes we do have to stand up and stick for what we feel deep down that's right or wrong. But I think that people are so bamboozled and intimidated and afraid, that they don't want to speak out, or they don't know what's happening, or they don't want to know. They just want to go along and be told, And I'll just end by saying, I never said here that I didn't think that there weren't real aspects to what's going on with this outbreak. But I think by and large, farly by and large, if that's the right way to say it, that this is really way blown out of proportion with an agenda, again, aimed at vaccination and the mark being chipped, which is right out of the Bible. I think that's unfortunately right around the corner. You might be worried, are we going to be here to experience this? Honestly, I don't think so. I think that the Bible is clear about that. Well, I know the Bible is clear about that with the mark, but others are also wondering about the vaccine, being forced with that. But it seems that's going to be a exact part of it. It's going to be combined, and that would occur at the same time. So I think that's a biblical position, what I just said. I really do. And to me, just the thought of somebody trying to force something like that on me, it just gets to me. I get angry, even the thought about it, But from Scripture and prophetically, it doesn't seem like, how could there be much more time left for all of this? It doesn't seem like there is. You could be thinking, well, would they be okay from now, maybe even through the summer? I don't know, A lot is said that the next wave or part of this is the fall, and especially the winter. And again, the agenda seems to be for this to take place in 2020. So, whether that's accurate or not, or just whatever, that seems like the scenario and the timing of things. All right, take care. I talked long enough, and I'll see what happens. And if I'm going to come back and update this situation and act accordingly and whatever, find out what the real story is behind this footage. And again, please don't get, too rambunctious, whatever the word is, over it. Though something like that could definitely stir up a lot of sentiments and emotions and opinions. All I can say is take care. I have no idea if I'm going to be back doing another video or what happens between now and whenever. All right, that's it. I'll say goodbye, at least for now. Who knows? Maybe, well, we do know eventually at some point there will be a last goodbye. We just don't know exactly when that will be. So whenever that is, I already said it. So take care and be well. And maybe I'll talk to you later. We don't know. All right, see ya. Bye now.